Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the ideas behind a book called The Weak Generation by Heinrich Wilson. And it's a pretty blunt look at a very, very modern problem.
So let's get right into it. The book kicks off with this massive paradox, one that you've probably noticed yourself. How is it possible that we are, by almost every measure, the safest, most comfortable generation that's ever lived, but at the same time, we seem to be the most emotionally fragile? All right, to really get to the bottom of that question, the book first unpacks this very strange conflict between how safe our world is on the outside and how turbulent we seem to be on the inside.
I mean, think about it. The author lays out a pretty clear baseline here. If you look at the data, safety, health, basic comfort, previous generations had it so much tougher. The external threats they faced were just on a whole different level. But then you get this. This is the other side of the coin. The book calls it an epidemic of fragility. And you see it in all these things that are becoming so common, right? Widespread anxiety, panic attacks, constant outrage, and just this tendency toward emotional collapse over things that maybe wouldn't have caused that reaction before. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the cultural shift the author's talking about. The whole expectation has flipped. It used to be that strength was the default, what was expected of you. Now, it seems like fragility is what's anticipated, and even catered to. Okay, so if that's the what, the next big question is, how? How in the world do we get to this point? So the book then shifts into diagnosing the causes. The author really zeroes in on these 4 key areas. The argument is that it's a combination of things. Kids having these super overprotective childhoods, all of us being so dependent on our digital lives, this new habit of constantly self-diagnosing every feeling we have, and then this broader cultural shift. Now, let's pause on this one for a second, because it's a huge concept in the book. When the author talks about victimhood culture, it's not a knock on people who are actual victims. It's describing a social environment where showing your weakness or your fragility can actually get you social points or validation. It can be rewarded. So, what's the end result of all these factors coming together? Well, according to the source, you get a society that has kind of lost its adaptive muscle. So instead of bending under pressure and growing from it, the default reaction is just to break. Now, this is a really important point to make. The author is very clear that this book is not some self-help guide. It's not trying to give you a 5-step plan to fix yourself or the world. And this chart lays it out perfectly. Look, on the left, you see what it's not. It's not offering easy fixes, it's not lecturing you, and it's definitely not sugarcoating anything. On the right, that's the real goal, to offer clarity, to just be an honest, unfiltered explanation of what's going on. It's a diagnosis, not a prescription. Direct, sharp, unfiltered. I mean, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? It gives you a really good feel for the tone of this analysis. It does not pull its punches. So at the end of the day, what are you supposed to take away from all of this? The core message is really about recognizing and just understanding that a massive shift has happened in how we behave and what we value as a society. And the author makes the case that this isn't some abstract theory. You can see the effects of this shift literally everywhere. You see it in the workplace, you see it all over the internet, in our personal relationships, and just in broader society as a whole. Which really brings us to the final lingering question that the book leaves you to think about. What are the consequences for us as individuals and for our entire society when resilience stops being a core expectation, when it becomes rare instead of the norm?
So, if you want to explore these ideas and the whole argument for yourself, the book, again, is called The Weak Generation by Heinrich Wilson, and you can get it now on Amazon.